morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at the very first Grapploct card we've ever seen. And this is one of the Pokemon that I really liked from Sword and Shield. So, as it stands at the moment, consider me a little bit excited. I was very, very excited to see what this actually did, whether it would be any good, and it's a weird one, ladies and gentlemen. A really weird one. So starting off with the basics then, we got 130 HP, which is up there with Naganadel. It's what we're generally looking for from Stage 1 Pokemon. It's got a retreat cost of 2, which is larger than we'd like, but the good news is that we do have that new Balloon card, so at least that will give us free retreat. We got a weakness to Psychic, which is kind of annoying because Mewtwo and Mew is still like really good, Boo, Hiss, etc. And we are a fighting Pokemon, so we have all the advantages that gives us. We're hitting weakness on stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom and Raichu and Alolan Raichu, which is rather nice. As well as your other stuff like that new Silvally card, which people seem to be liking quite a lot. And then, of course, we got stuff like Diancie Prism Star that lets you do an extra 20 damage. And you got Martial Arts Dojo that if you got a basic fighting energy attached, means you do an extra 10 damage or an extra 40 if you're behind on prizes. And it means that you can use Karate Belt to reduce it to a single energy attack if you are behind on prizes. It's kind of cool. Now, the first attack here is a very, very weird one. But it's actually pretty much exactly what I would expect to get from a fighting Octopus. So what we have here is for 2 fighting energy, it doesn't actually do any damage, but what it does do is increase the attack cost of the defending Pokemon, by which I mean all of their attacks, by 2 colorless energy, and prevent them from retreating. Yeah, that's pretty gosh darn good, ladies and gentlemen. That's really pretty gosh darn good. I love this. Now, it only works as long as Grapploct is your active Pokemon, and the effect does not stack. If it did stack, you could use this 4 times, your opponent's attacks all cost 8 more energy, and you just sit there. And to be fair, only knocking them out and then they come back. But that's not the point, ladies and gentlemen. That's not the point. What I'm saying here is that this is a card where you trap your opponent's Pokemon in the active and take them out. Now, if Grapploct leaves the active, your opponent loses this, alright? They can attack for the same amount, they can retreat, etc. And even if your opponent gets out the active, remember that when the defending Pokemon switches to the bench, they are no longer the same defending Pokemon. So there's no, oh, what if they switch to the bench and then become active again? Do they still have to pay more to attack? The answer is a very simple no, because we know that the ruling is that when they go to the bench, they are no longer the same Pokemon. Okay, the thing is, this is brilliant. What this does, very simply, is it stops your opponent being able to do what they want to do. The perfect situation here is that your opponent is unable to switch their active Pokemon. Now, if they've got a switch, or anything that acts as a switch, Mallow and Lana, or anything along those lines, then things are going to go pretty bad pretty quickly, because you've just wasted your attack. Your attack has done literally nothing. Similarly, if they can make you swap your active Pokemon, maybe using something like a Volcanion Prism Star, they can just switch you to the bench, and then it doesn't matter what comes active. As soon as Grapploct leaves, this attack no longer has done anything. But then you just sit there and knock them out. I mean, take something like a Reshiram and Charizard. They're going to be using 4 energy to attack. So if you can do this nice and early, all of a sudden they need 6 energy to use their big attack. That's not so easy. Although, to be fair, with them, Welder will help massively. Use it against something like a Pikachu and Zekrom, and they're going to all of a sudden have to pay 5 energy in order to use their big attack. Something like a Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff. are going to need 5 energy to use their main attack. Something like Arceus and Dialga and Palkia are going to need 5 energy just to get Ultimate Ray off, and 4 energy just to use Altered Creation. And then you just sit there and whittle them down and off you go. It really is a very nice attack. If your opponent can switch, it's pointless. If you have to switch, it's pointless. But if you can keep them there unable to attack, you can whittle them down and KO them. Speaking of which, we're gonna need an attack here, and we have one. 2 fighting, 1 colourless energy, 130 damage. Damage from this attack is not affected by resistance. Cool. And this is actually a pretty big deal, right? For a little while, or for quite a while, okay, since the base set, flying Pokemon have had a resistance to fighting. Something like, let's use Eviltal. Used to be such a big part of the format, and now Eviltal just does nothing. Still got a resistance to fighting. And we've seen that Ghost Pokemon, look at something like Mismagius, still have a resistance to fighting. The change is that as of Sword and Shield, all Psychic Pokemon, so let's take Galarian Rapidash as an example, all of a sudden they all have a resistance to fighting. And you're going through all of these resistances. That's actually really, really nice. I mean, something like Mismagius, yeah, you're KOing anyway, to be fair. And something like Galarian Rapidash, you're actually KOing anyway, to be fair. Though you will get Eviltal through the resistance. Yay! Not that anyone's actually playing that Eviltal, but my point still holds, gosh darn it. It's not a phenomenal attack. Now 130 is fine. 130 we like because it gets stuff like Naganadel. We said earlier this is in line with it. There's always been, well, for a while at least, a bit of a line of demarcation between 120 and 130 HP Pokemon. It is really nice that you're able to hit the higher amount here so that you can take out that Pokemon. So this is all well and good. This is nice. We like it, etc. But when we get up, and to be fair, right, you're actually hitting a really good weakness. So, well, I mean, let's look at the new Silvally. That's got 210, you hit 260, you're good. Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff, they've got 240, you hit 260, you're good. Pikachu and Zekrom, they've got 240, you hit 260, you're good. Raichu and Alolan Raichu, you hit 260, they've got 260, you're good. Even moving up into the Pokemon V, Snorlax V, they've got 220, you hit 260, you're good. But then the VMAX has 340. And that's where we hit a bit of a snafu. But the thing to remember is that it's a fighting Pokemon. So you're not actually doing 130. You add Diancie Prism Star, you're doing 150. You add a Martial Arts Dojo, not behind on prizes, you're hitting 160. Which is actually just short of a Snorlax VMAX. But then again, we've got that new Vitality Band, which is a tool that lets you do 10 more damage, and then you are actually hitting 170, and you are getting a one-hit KO. Remember, of course, that if you're behind on prizes, you hit an extra 40 using Martial Arts Dojo, so even without Diancie Prism Star, you're hitting 170. With Diancie Prism Star, and Martial Arts Dojo, and Vitality Band, if you're behind on prizes, you're actually hitting 200 damage here. And that's starting to get a lot tastier. Now you're getting a whole bunch of Pokemon V that you're just not even hitting for weakness. There's a whole bunch of them that you are getting now. I mean, take something like Cramorant V. You go through resistance, you're hitting 200. Cramorant V goes down in one hit. Plus, you're getting the majority of basic EXs. This is a really nice attack. You're not getting everything, right? You're getting weaker GXs, you're getting weaker Pokemon V, you're getting anything you're hitting for weakness, and you're getting, single prize non-GX, non-V Pokemon. That's good. Bearing in mind, you should be buying yourself a couple of turns here. What you're doing is using the first attack to stop them doing anything, so even if you do have to 2-hit KO here, you're alright. You're fine. You've got time to 2-hit KO. That's what I like about Grapploct. And the other thing is, you can just massively waste time here. There is definitely going to be an energy denial deck starring Grapploct. What you do is you go in the active, you increase their attack cost by 2, and then you start using stuff like Crushing Hammer to get rid of all of their energy, knowing that they're just not able to get the energy on fast enough, because when you're playing energy denial and you're increasing their attack cost by 2, even with only 130 HP, hopefully you can stop them attacking so your HP becomes moot. This is a fun Pokemon that might be a bit slow, and we might have too much energy acceleration, or it might just work. So let's give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I'd like to know if you think it's going to work, though. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts and be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in but are awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.